What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Operation Redwood podcast. As you may notice, we are down a couple soldiers today, working at 50% capacity, but that doesn't mean we're not going to 100% show up.
That's right, baby.
You like that?
I like that.
That math right there.
Mad math.
That's man math.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have Bryant and David won't be here with us today, but today's topic, which I know they both wanted to be here and talk about this, is foolishness. What is a fool?
What is a fool indeed? You
Because,
know,
well, let me give you a little backstory on this. You and I have talked about this previously in our personal conversations. And when the Bible refers to a fool, I always looked at it in, Ebonics, like a dumbass.
hmm
like,
Yeah.
right? Like,
I pity the fool.
I don't know any other way to describe that. That's
Yeah.
just how I view that. But it sounds like there's so much more to it, what a fool is. And I think we were having a conversation once, and then you used the term fool. And I'm like, huh, is there more meaning to this?
Yeah.
So then I'm like, all right, boys, let's talk about foolishness tomorrow.
Let's talk
What
about
is a fool? What does the Bible say a fool is? Um, because for me, I know this would be super beneficial.
it.
And for the men, especially listening out there, stop being a fool.
Don't be a fool.
Don't be a fool. So, what is a fool? Let's start off with that.
Oh, before we say what a fool is, right? I wanna clarify that God loves us all, right? First of all. Second of
You
all,
got to start with that.
Scripture speaks that there is a difference between ignorance and foolishness, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. So like you can be a dumbass, that's fine, because you're ignorant. That's okay. Um, Fix it, right? Like don't stay ignorant. If you realize
That's okay.
that you're
Fix it.
faulty in one area, do some research on it, read up on it. Scripture says that His people perish because of ignorance, right?
Mm.
Because they don't know that. They don't know what the Bible says. They don't know how to live their lives. They don't know that God loves them. They don't know that God, you know, put His own life on the line for us, right? They just don't know what they don't know, right? It sounds like an overly kind of like a stupid statement, but it's so simple. It's so deep, that
Mm.
it's so true. Out of all if we could put like a pie chart, right, of all the known information and just in our universe, not even in God's like spiritual aspect, right?
Mm.
In heaven and what's in hell and all this jazz. Um, we probably know like 1% of 1%,
Mm.
and that's like probably the smartest person,
Mm.
right? Um,
Interesting.
yeah. So there's a lot out there we don't know, and so now what does God have to say of fools, right? So we're probably going to live in Proverbs, right, today, because Proverbs talks all fools, all over the
I
place.
noticed that. I think because in my readings right now, I'm in Proverbs,
Yeah,
and they keep mentioning fool as well,
yeah,
and I'm like, I try to substitute it with like dumbass,
yeah. Don't be a
like don't
dumbass.
be a dumbass. Oh yeah,
Don't walk with dumbasses.
exactly. Sorry, ma. She's probably like shaking her head right now. She's
Yeah.
like, I told you not to
I'm
curse.
sorry.
Dumbass is lukewarm. It's not too bad yet. But anyways, so when I try to substitute it with that to try to make it make a little bit more sense, I feel because fool is such for me it's almost like an empty word,
Mm.
because I don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
So when I read it in Proverbs, I just put like, okay, don't be a dumbass, right? But it doesn't always fit. So I'm always like, there's more to this.
Mm.
There's more like, and again, that's why I found that interesting. What is a fool? And I asked you, I'm like, what's a fool?
Okay. So now, what does Scripture have to say about being a fool, right? So right off the bat, it says that uh, fools they don't take counsel.
Hmm.
Okay, so they refuse to. They think they're the smartest person. They think that their way is the correct way, right? It says the way of the fool is correct in his own eyes,
Hmm.
right? So that means that they keep doing the wrong thing, they keep getting the wrong results, and they keep blaming other people, right? Instead of internalizing and saying, you know what? Maybe I'm the problem. Maybe I need to fix this. Maybe I need to go about this another way. Maybe I shouldn't be so prideful, right? And
Mm.
actually ask for advice or take the advice that so and so gave me, right? And do
Mm.
it. Um, it also says that, actually, let me just read this from my notes so I don't butcher it. It says, the lips of fools bring them strife, and their mouths invite a beating, right? The mouths of the fool are their own undoing, and their lips are snares to their very lives,
Mm.
right? So what does that mean? The lips of the fools bring them strife, right? So I'm sure we all have people like this in our life. Hopefully not too much, right? But we do live out in this
And if
world.
you don't, then you're probably the
Yeah, and then
fool.
if you don't, yeah,
Then
one in
you're
three people are
one of
fools.
the
Luckily, there's only two people in this room right now.
someone listening right now. Ooh, thank God
I just made that statistic up.
I
All right.
I, I have no fools in my circle. Like,
Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
look in the mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there's people that unfortunately I know, and anytime that they're at the party, it's like drama follows them.
Mm.
You know, and they get mad about the silliest things, and they're proud about the most strangest things.
Mm.
And they're boastful, right? Um, and that invites error. It
Mm.
invites problems, and we can call it drama for now. But then Scripture continues and says their mouths invite a beating, right? So they get themselves into situations, and then they wonder, why is this happening to me?
Mm.
You know,
Mm.
and I couldn't tell you how many times I've heard that, especially in my younger years. My I was uh, hanging out with the wrong group, and a lot of people say, tell me who you're with, and I'll show you who you are, right?
Mm.
And my mom would always repeat that to me, always, 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 to the point where I thought like that was an actual verse in the Bible,
Mm.
and maybe it is, I don't know, but I haven't seen it there.
What does it tell me who you're with, and I'll show you who you are?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean it's a good saying, a very good saying,
Mm.
because Scripture is filled with that being the heart of the message.
Mm.
You know, like in, I
Mm.
want to say the Gospels, it says that bad company makes good character suffer, right?
Mm.
So it's absolutely important who you surround yourself with, right? And if we take this in the secular world, you've said this, like whoever, like depending on, oh, if you're with high performers, then your performance goes up by a really nice percentage,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or like a decent percentage. But if you surround yourself with low performers, and then it goes into an even worse
The exact percentage is 15 and 30. So
15 and
you're
30.
you're with high performers, your performance statistically goes up by 15%. You're with low performers, your performance gets hindered by 30%.
Wow.
So it's like almost it's a lot easier and it's so much more detrimental when you are with low performers. And that's not to degrade anyone.
Yeah.
We're speaking on specifically a performance measuring level where it's like, you know, if you measure one, two, three, A, B, C, and go off the data, then that's what it is. The low performers will bring everybody down by about 30%. And the high performers, which is great, only 15. So it's like it's such a interesting relationship because 15 and 30, you would think it's even,
Yeah.
but it's really like almost like an uphill battle. And
Mm.
it's easier to be drugged down than it is to be pulled up.
Isn't that the truth though?
Mm.
Like it is so it's hard to build things up,
Mm.
no
Yeah.
matter what it is. Like uh, what's the saying? Not going to the gym for a week makes one week.
Hmm.
I love that saying because I was like, what? I don't get it. And somebody spelled it out for me.
You're like,
And I was like, of course a
oh,
week means a
oh,
week.
you fool.
You fool. Yeah. And but yeah, man, like you go to the gym, you build yourself up, you get strong, you stop going for an X amount of time,
Mm.
and the detrimental effects, are so much quicker than on the downfall than on the way up.
That's so true. That's a great analogy. Yeah.
When you're climbing the mountain, it takes you a month to get up Everest, but if you jump, you'll get down real fast.
Get down in a day, not even a
Yeah,
couple minutes.
yeah,
That's so true. Like just like going back to the gym, it takes diet, consistency, um, like outside of the workout regimen. There's so much that goes into building that muscle.
yeah.
But in a couple weeks, you can start atrophying, and your muscles could start shrinking. Literally, what happened when I got my injury.
Mm,
So when I hurt my knee during the qualification, I had been CrossFitting and I had been doing all these things like, it was like this high speed lifestyle, and I had muscle and I felt strong and I felt explosive. I'm like, this is cool, but within a matter of weeks, after my leg was in a straight brace, dude, you could see it just started to become flabby, and
mm,
you're like, I worked years for this, like
yeah,
years,
yeah,
and how quickly that turns into that progress
absolutely.
becomes regression.
Yeah, yeah. I totally believe it. I mean, no, since we're on the topic of injuries, when I injured my hand, since then I've gained 30 pounds,
Hmm.
just because I was like strictly unable to do anything, and I'm idle, you know what I mean? And I thank God that I'm coming to a place where it looks like I can take my life back, you know what I mean?
Mm-mm-mm.
And start being active again and start roughhousing again and start doing certain things to an extent. Um, but yeah, it's wild how much idleness really really hurts a person, like
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
just your physical body but also your mental ability, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And your, I don't know, just overall health.
Because I mean, like, not to even go on a tangent, because I think all of this relates. Idleness, when you're not quote unquote doing anything, right? Especially when you normally would have something to do, you're gonna fill that time with something else.
Mm,
Like that idleness will only be idleness for so long, because you're going to be like, I'll do something else. I'll fill it with something else. So, in the lack of what you normally do, in the lack of routine, in the lack of structure, in the lack of those normal, regular activities, you'll fill it with something else.
yeah,
How many of us fill it with a wrong thing, though?
of
With
course.
a temporary, like porn. A lot of men struggle with this porn addiction. Social media, right? Like when you're sitting idle, you're like, and I'll admit sometimes I'm guilty of it too. Like when I'm in between meetings and I have like a 15-minute break, I know I should like take a breath, step away a little bit, kind of like regroup my mind. But I'll check my phone. I'll kind of go through my emails, go through the sports section. Oh,
Mm.
Chicago Bears did what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're just filling in that idle time with something. And I think a lot of men struggle to realize that they're filling that idle time with the wrong things
Of
until it's
course.
become a habit,
Mm.
until that idleness, idleness,
Ooh.
snap,
Yep.
until sooner or later you've built up an idol
Yeah.
from being idle.
Nice. That was good.
So what?
That was gold.
Damn, boy. Oh,
That was
damn.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it's like you said, you fill it up with the wrong thing, and because you're so, there's actually scriptures on being idle. I can't remember them off the top of my head, but it just, like you said, it invites certain things into your life because you're so bored,
Yeah.
and you're looking for an escape from this I don't know, pain of being bored. You know what I mean? And so when something slightly exciting comes by, you're just like, yeah, let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine was Netflix for the past couple months for sure. You know,
Yeah.
and but there were some good things that came out of a lot of good things that came out of me being home, like spending time with the kids and really getting to see like what needs to get done in the house. I had like a list that I finally started working on. Um, but yeah, and then eventually, right, you would hope, God willing, that you snap out of whatever idleness or whatever feeling of boredom that is, and you're like, nah, we're gonna be productive today. You
Mm.
know, we're gonna get things done. But, anyways, back
That,
to the definition of
but I think that's if we just hung out in that moment a little bit longer, I think you've become a fool. If you hang
in
out
a
in that
sense,
idleness for too
absolutely,
long,
absolutely.
I think you really become a fool because you could be doing like let's go back to what you just said. You know that stuff needs to get done at the house,
Mm-hmm.
but then you're not doing it.
Yeah,
So like, how long has that been delayed? The moments that you could have been doing this, you did something else, and that relates totally to us.
absolutely.
I know I should be working on this, but I'll do something else.
Yeah.
And I feel like that idleness and being a fool or being foolish, it's almost really closely related.
Mm.
Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
it's almost intertwined.
Yeah.
Like when you're an idle, when you whoa, not an idle, but when you are idle, it introduces foolishness because we're hardwired to feel good, to we want to feel comfort.
Mm.
So we seek short-term things
Mm-hmm.
to get that and those feel good endorphins, right?
Yeah.
So we go for that short term because we're idle, and then it's like, whoa, we're just being a fool at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Um, knowing the right thing and not doing it is a sin, right? Just as much
Mm.
as um, knowing the wrong thing and doing it.
Delayed obedience is disobedience.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, oh snaps!
Yeah.
Delayed obedience.
It reminds me of my youngest daughter. She just turned 2, and I'll tell her to do something, and I know that she understands me, right? And she'll look at me, and she'll do something silly, and I'll be like, come on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I don't want to discipline you,
yeah,
come
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah.
And she knows. She's like, okay, I got about like 2 chances before he comes in for the strikeout.
Oh, he didn't
Yeah.
bite on that one. Oh,
Yeah.
they made him with the body roll.
Yeah, no, really, she does the silliest things. Like I was, God, I just got home, right, my wife, and I tell her, oh, go kiss mommy, go say hi, mommy, you know, and then she just starts moving like a crab sideways, right, like into the kitchen. I'm like, go kiss mommy, silly, you know, and
That's
then she
so
just looks
funny.
at me again, stops, then she starts again, and starts moving like a crab, and I'm like, go kiss mommy.
Oh,
And
that's
then she
funny.
like walks
You're
over
like,
and
come here.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
But
I wonder where she got this from.
yeah, it's crazy. As I walk upstairs, doing crab hands.
Daddy's coming.
Yeah, it's so silly the things
That's
she does,
funny.
man. So cute.
Kids, man, kids are just like the purest form of like humanity. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's
In
like
all their emotions.
it is.
Yeah,
They don't have the same worries that we have. They're not worried about bills or taxes or this is due or this needs to get fixed
or a cultural norm.
or a right. They don't. They're not trying to fit into
No,
anything.
they just want to do them.
Just do them. And I think there is a lot of truth in that. You know, if you think about it, we grew up as individuals, and then at one point when we start going to school, when we start or when we're introduced to friends and other people, all of a sudden we just want to be part of the crowd.
Oh yeah, there's definitely a point in time where we want to we want to fit in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at least for me, there was a point in time where it's like, oh, it's not. I'm cool. I fit in now. But there's always something else, right? Once
Yeah.
you get what you want, now you want something else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I want to be popular,
Yeah.
right?
So, yeah, yeah. It's such a wave,
Yeah.
right? Like, I want to be an individual, but then I want to fit in.
Yeah.
But I also want to be slightly different. Actually, I want to be slightly better.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to be way better. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
then you go back to individual,
Yeah.
and then it's just,
And now I'm at the top. How do I stay on top?
right.
You know,
Right.
whose legs will got to kick underneath them at gym class.
But that, you know what I mean? Going back to foolishness, there's so much. I feel like foolishness is a learned thing.
Could be.
Could be, yeah,
Could
it
be.
could be.
Could be.
But then we go back to our kids. What are we teaching them? What if we're the ones introducing foolishness to them?
Absolutely could. Yeah. Because Think about it. You could know that eating sugar is bad, right? So then you tell your
That's why I
kids,
drink it.
that's why I drink it, yeah. So then you tell your kids, no, you can't have sugar because it's bad for you, and you go down the whole list of the medical form and reports saying, this is why I don't want you to have sugar. And then they see you eating a
Oh,
bunch of candy, in front of them, or eating ice cream or
oh,
whatever, and then, sorry, baby, you can't have any ice cream because sugar's bad for you. But they see you doing it, right? So they're gonna learn from that, right? Because what you say is only like a small percentage to a kid.
mm.
All kids learn visually for the most
For the
part.
most part, yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
So they see you do something, and they will almost instantly start mimicking you, if not in
Mm.
front of you, behind your back. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I found my kids with like their little toy guns in their waist pocket. And I'm like, who taught you this? And oh, we want to be safe. Who taught you about being safe? You did,
You
Daddy.
did.
I didn't tell you about anything. You would do that around the house.
You probably had a tear in your eye.
I
You're
did.
like,
I was so happy. I was so proud.
I gotta go fix the kitchen.
I'm not crying. I'm sweating from my eyes. No, yeah, but it's awesome. It's also scary though, right? Because like for us, we want to try and do better, right? Every day, we want to do better for our family, for especially for our kids,
Mm.
because we are watching our kids grow up, but they're also watching us grow up. They just
Ooh.
don't realize it, and neither do we, right? Because
Mm.
we have this moral high ground, this sense of authority that says, "I'm the mom, I'm the dad, I know what's right. I will guide you the best that I can, and you're just a silly child, you know." But I think there is a lot that our kids can teach us about ourselves.
Mm.
You know, the
Yeah,
way
for sure.
that we conduct around them, the way that they act when we're home. We can see areas that we're strong in, and areas that we're lacking
Mm.
in. But again, a fool won't care.
Mm.
I think that's probably the heart of it.
A fool won't care, or a fool won't do anything about it. Because you can care, but I mean, caring doesn't really necessarily mean you're gonna take action on it.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you can say, I want this,
Hmm.
I want to fix this, I want to do this, I want to lose this weight,
Yeah,
but you still don't do anything about it.
yeah, exactly.
I think you're even more of a fool now.
You're playing yourself.
You're playing yourself, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that basically what Scripture says too. The fool is, like we said earlier, his mouth or her mouth, the fool's mouth, the way of the fool. It just invites drama. It invites violence upon themselves.
Mm.
Scripture says that the mouth of a fool is a snare to his own life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Scripture also says that we have the power of life and death in our mouth. And
Mm.
what does that say? That means that we're trapped by our own word, and not in a
Oh.
good way.
Mm.
You know, we're held down by the ideas that come out of our mouth, by the conversations we're having,
Mm.
by the outbursts, right? We'll call them outbursts, right?
Oof. I know a lot of men, I mean, me as well, have had these outbursts.
Oh yeah.
And how many times, there's no such thing as a good outburst.
You can have a happy outburst.
You dirty boy.
That's not even where I was
I was like,
going. That's not even where I was going,
you
Angelo.
dirty, dirty boy.
That's
Ah.
funny though.
Happy outbursts. Happy
Yeah.
outbursts. Give me an
I'm gonna
example.
start calling you that from now
Happy
on.
outbursts.
As soon as I'm done, happy outbursts.
Happy outbursts. Wow.
An example of like what a good outburst.
A happy
A
outburst.
happy outburst. I don't know. Like when I found out that Kat and I, like we were pregnant, right? We went to the what is it called? Sonography. The
Oh yeah, the
ultrasound.
ultrasound. Yeah.
And we went to the ultrasound. And so, I'm just happy we're pregnant, right? Because I don't know if I ever told you, but
Mm.
Kata and I thought we weren't going to be able to have kids because her mom had a really hard time conceiving kids, and she had a few miscarriages. And so I was like, it was 2 years after we were married, and I was like, well, since we're going to have a hard time, I might as well get started now, right? And boom, we got pregnant. And I was like, ah, cool. You know, it was beautiful moments recorded. And she gave me the news on Christmas. Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
great, best present ever.
Mm.
But then we were at the ultrasound. And so I was just like, yeah, you know, let me know. How's the baby? Give me the pictures. Cool. Going through the, you know, the hallmark Hollywood moments of it all. And, um, and then, you know, the doctor goes, oh, there's the heartbeat. Wait a minute. There's two heartbeats, right? And I was like, oh no, my kid's a mutant, right? No, I'm just joking. No, I instantly like excited, right? And I got to my knees and I threw my hands in the air and I was like, thank you, Lord. You know, like praise God, right? In the middle of the sonogram room, right?
Hmm.
And I started tearing and I don't know, to me that'd be a happy outburst.
Okay, I was imagining an outburst. Good, great example. I was imagining the outburst like, "Get the away from me" type of thing, like that. Like in an argument, and you just
Mm.
say whatever.
No, there is that
That well,
for sure.
that's what I was
Hmm.
initially picturing
Right.
when you said outburst. But that example, that story, like 100%, yeah, there. I guess there are other happy outbursts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way to recover. Way to recover.
Yes, my reputation's on the line here.
Reputation. We're back. We're
Yeah, yeah,
back,
yeah.
baby. We're back.
No, and I'm glad that we're on here because um, Proverbs says that a fool cannot contain his outbursts, right?
Hmm.
A fool just lets everything come out. A fool can't control his temper, essentially, right? Yep, I've seen myself there many times. You can't control your temper. You can't control your outbursts. But a wise person holds them back, holds them in, right? It has that demeanor and that character of being meek and knowing that I could destroy everybody in this room.
Do you know who I think of as you're talking about that?
Who?
Bryant.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only person I think of now when I hear the word meek. It's like we got this monster of a man, you know, and but he's humble. He
Super humble.
is
If he
laid
was only
back.
here, if Brian was only here, that would be like, poof. Let's hear from you.
Yeah.
You know, because dude's a monster,
Yep.
beast of an athlete.
Yep.
You know, but you will not. If you only heard his voice on the podcast and you didn't see him on on our YouTube channel,
Mm.
and you just heard his voice, excuse me, you'd be like, it doesn't match.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't match.
Yeah. Very reserved, very calm, very kind, respectful.
He talks about praying before events.
Before, yeah,
I'm like,
events that might lead to an altercation.
dude, an events that's borderline outburst.
Yep.
For at least for me, I'm like, that's already outburst already.
Yep. Yep.
You would definitely think that. Brian's not that type of guy, you know, and that's why I love having these conversations because we're learning so much from each other. As much as this is fun and we're able to share the word with everybody and share it with the world. These conversations are so beneficial for me because I get to see perspectives of other men that do things differently than I do. If we were all in that same background, that same thing, we'd pretty much have the same type of actions.
Becomes an echo chamber.
It becomes an echo chamber, exactly. And if we're all a fool,
Yeah.
it doesn't really help. You just have a group of different fools.
It's true. Yeah. It becomes some sort of weird Animal Planet survival of the fittest thing, you know, in my head.
I was like,
Because think about it, if everybody is a fool, right, and we all think we're right. We can't exceed it. We can't agree to disagree. We can't leave any room for ourselves to be
grow.
wrong or to be whatever. We say, nah, we're perfect.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Um, we might know that what the other person is saying is truth, right? But we might look at that in contempt, right? Hold the truth in contempt
yeah.
and say, nah, I'm better than that. I'll find my own way, which is also scripture, by the way.
Dude,
Yeah, so that's another definition of a fool.
I'm tired of being a fool, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you and me both. But, like, think about that. Like, and there are people like this in the world, man. that I was shocked when I learned that this was the character of the individual.
Yeah.
And so, because on the surface they look nice, they look clean and polished, right? But then you start seeing little small cues, like they'll lie for no reason, like for no reason, like to the waiter, you know, or uh, yeah, just small little things here and there, and I'm like, I think you're a pathological liar. Like I think you have some issues, my friend.
It's like, do you want some water? And I'm good. And then after the waiter walks away, I'm so thirsty. I'm
I
so,
didn't want to look desperate.
I, just,
You got to reject them at least
I
twice.
don't need nobody.
Yeah, yeah, man. But think, what does that even mean, right? Holding the truth in contempt,
Mm,
you know? Because contempt, it's to think that something is beneath you, right? To look down on it.
mm.
So when you look at the truth in contempt, you're basically saying, well, the end of that scripture is the fool holds the truth in contempt and follows his own path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that means that you are being so stubborn, so prideful, that you're seeing the truth. You understand the truth, or you might be like, oh, they might be right. But instead of humbling yourself, you decide to take the pride and the stubbornness up a notch, and you're like, no, you're stupid. You're dumb. You don't know what you're talking about.
Mm,
You look at the truth, the person in contempt beneath you. I'm better than you.
mm.
I'm gonna do it my way. I'm gonna find my own way.
But what if they don't have that ego to them, where it's not like, oh, you're wrong and I'm. What if they're just like they just don't do it for, I don't know, fear or whatever reason, right? It's not like I know better than you, but it's like, yeah, I know I should be doing that, but I'm not gonna do it anyway. Still a fool, right?
In my eyes,
Mm,
in my eyes, yes. This is like you said earlier. You know what to do, and you won't do it.
mm-hmm,
You know that the things in the house need to get done, but it's not getting done. You know that you should lose 30 pounds, right? But you're not doing
mm,
it, right? Same thing. But I think it's a different type of
mm.
fool. You know what I mean? And
Would
I'm
that would
I'm
that almost be like a coward? Would
I
that be like a coward fool? I
it
don't know if that's a.
depends, right? Because if they're coming from a place of fear, then absolutely, right? Um, God didn't give us a spirit of cowardice. He gave us a spirit of courage, right?
Mm-hmm.
To overcome, to fight, to do what we need to do, right? Um, so if you're afraid of failing, yeah, I'd say that you were coming from a place of fear and
Mm,
you're being cowardly. Um, but scripturally wise, right, I don't think that I would say that's a fool. I just think that person is being a coward, is being afraid.
mm,
I've heard the term being afraid of success, right?
mm,
And I still don't know exactly what that means, right? Because I understand the afraid of falling. I don't understand the fear of rising, right? Unless you just want to like make excuses to not do it, right? So like for example, right? Let's say that you're into acting or being a singer or whatever, and you don't want to take any risks or jumps out there because you might make it, right?
mm-hmm.
And then why is that a bad thing? So just to throw some random fears out there, okay, well, I'm married and my spouse might not like that, or oh well, if I make it to Hollywood, it's all filled with Satanists and child molesters, and
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want to be part of that circle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe that's true, and they're not bad points at all, right?
Right.
But
Is it really
is
it?
that really the reason that you don't want to make the jump? You
Mm.
know, to me, I don't understand the fear of success.
Interesting. So I think I can give some clarity on that because a lot of men specifically, we have this underlying question going on, this voice in our head that continues to echo no matter what level we're at. And it's a voice that's always asking us, am I worthy?
Okay,
Am I worthy?
sure, yeah,
And
I've
I
heard
think
that voice many times.
I think that is part of the fear of success. There's when I get there, do I really deserve to be there? or am I gonna be like a fake that got my way to the top?
You know what I've had? I've had if I get there. It's not a question of if. It's a question of when I'm there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't ever say if I go there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I can.
Yeah.
I know I can be there.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
could be there right now if I wanted to. But the voice I always hear is, will you be able to perform? Will
Yeah.
you be able to step up to the plate? Will you do well?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
always the voice I hear.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So it's
That's a lot.
like, am I worthy? But more like, can I deliver?
That's the second part. It's
Yeah.
like, am I worthy? And then can I actually, when I get there or that opportunity arises, and it's me and this person face to face, will I be able to perform when that time comes?
Yeah.
And
But see, that's the fear of the fall. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
understand that
yeah.
you lose 100% of the chances you don't take. I understand that completely. Um, but I think, like, for me at least, right, when I have that voice in my head, it always inflicts a sense of fear that I'm going to let people down,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm like, there's going to be people depending on me there. If I go there, people are depending on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to bring, like, if this is my 100, now I need to get my XP up so that my
I
100
need to
bar goes
level
up
up.
to
I need to
120 or
level
one.
up.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Like there was I have a friend whose family owns a very well known cookie company.
hmm,
And
insomnia.
no. Um, and there was a point where his parents wanted him to take over
Hmm,
because they wanted to retire, they wanted to step away, but they didn't want to sell it to anybody else. Keep it in the family type of thing.
right, right, right.
And my friend was so hesitant. Like, and they're successful. They've got money. Like that part of their life probably doesn't even they don't probably have to worry about the money aspect anymore. But the thing that he would explain to me is he's not sure if he can continue what his parents and what they've already built.
Hmm,
His parents wanted to expand the company because they started out west. They wanted to expand it east, and that's kind of where they left it for him to take over that next project to take it east in the U.S. And then he's like, I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. Like,
hmm.
I'm gonna mess it up. I don't know. And I'm like,
Yeah, it's the fear
bro,
of the downfall.
well, yeah. And I think that's really intertwined with that fear of success. Like, and I'm like, what if you did though? Like, there's plenty of reasons why we can't. But what if you did?
Yeah,
What could that look
yeah.
like? But some guys, like, we mentioned this. Maybe we did. I don't know. There's so many conversations sometimes throughout the week. I'm like, was that with you or was that with Samuel? Maybe that was Brian. I'm not sure. Maybe David. Anyways, you look at it. Are you motivated by winning or are you motivated by not losing?
Mm, yeah,
And that's really the mindset,
yeah.
right? Are you motivated because you want to win, you want to hit the goal, or are you just don't want to lose that bad, or you don't want to are you motivated by that? I think motivated by winning is like this positive thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're motivated by not losing, it's almost a darker type of energy.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of my early years was very much like that. And it's really funny that we're talking about foolishness now because I think my early years I was definitely way more of a fool. I was too much into my career, too much into my ego, too much into my own self-satisfaction or self-gratification, elevating myself, higher than what I really was.
Yeah.
And definitely a fool. But I was motivated to not lose. I was motivated to prove that I was actually worthy. I've mentioned this on the podcast before. Um, my dad's a great man, great dad. But he didn't tell me he was proud of me until the day he was getting deployed to Afghanistan. Like
Yeah.
that, I was already in college, so I'm not like in sixth grade. Like, okay, daddy,
Yeah.
like I'm like almost grown. And I remember Carlene and I had just started dating,
Mm,
and it was one of those times where You know, growing up, it didn't matter what I achieved or what I accomplished. You know, I was always striving for my dad's approval. Um, so then, when he was getting deployed that morning, it was a kind of a weird thing. Like we were always cool, right? But it was a weird, like, all right, be safe. like,
Yeah.
like it was a weird goodbye.
Right.
You know, I'll see you when you get back. Whatever. Bye. I love you. I'll see you. Whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't even think we said I love you because my family didn't really start saying I love you until much later on in life.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and that's from that is from a that's from Carlene. Carlene and her family say I love you before they hang up the phone. All the time before they leave each other, they always say I love you. And it was this because they never wanted to miss this opportunity to say I
Yeah.
love you too. And I'm like, that's really cool.
Especially.
My family doesn't say we love you.
So two things. First, I absolutely agree saying I love you to the people that you love when you say goodbye, right? Because tomorrow isn't promised to us, not even the next second.
Hmm.
You know, so when you're saying okay, bye, you know, just in case we don't meet again on this earth, I love you.
Hmm.
You know, take that with you.
Hmm.
And second, you're the second family that I know of that like didn't say I love you.
Yeah.
You know, and to me that just blows my mind. You know,
Why? Did you
because
guys grow up saying that?
oh yeah, at
Mm.
least like my mom. You know, my mom was very extremely tender and
Yeah,
you
I think
know
I'm sure
loving.
my mom probably said it. I'm sure she did. But we just weren't that type to say, "All right, bye, I love you." Like,
Mm,
love you guys. Like, we just didn't.
mm.
Let me ask you: is that other family, an Asian family?
No,
Really
yeah, they're white. Yeah, and
interesting?
like they don't do hugs, like they don't do kisses, and I'm just like,
They just dap it up. Like,
yeah, hey, fist bumps. All right,
fist
buddy.
bumps. All right,
All right, champ. See you
all
later.
right, champ. Pow pow.
Yeah. So I to me, you know, especially like coming from a Hispanic home, like we're very passionate, we're very loving, we're very warm, we're very,
Mm-hmm.
and as far as I know, so are Filipinos. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like to hear that from you saying, oh yeah, we didn't really say I love you or whatever, or you know this other family, oh yeah, we never really kissed or hugged or said I love you, and I'm just like, that is so like I cannot fathom. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
all I want to do is love on my kids, on my wife, you know, and you know, kind of gets mad, and she's like, "Stop! You're so aggressive," you know.
I love you so
Yeah,
much.
yeah,
Well, now we do it to like Lana. You know,
mm,
that's something that I saw with our family dynamic that I wanted to change for us.
yeah,
My family growing up, my immediate family, right? We didn't say that, but now my family, now that we have, you know, we're married, we have a kid,
yeah,
I want to say that, and it is weird because I just didn't grow up saying it, but now like I'm used to it now. But I'm like, I love you. I say it to
yeah,
Lana all the time.
yeah,
I love you, and making sure she knows that she's loved. Um, Not that we didn't think we were loved, but because we always knew our parents cared for us to a very high level.
mm,
It's just one of those like we never said it out loud
mm,
until like Carlene came around and she started saying that. We kind of noticed and we picked up on it, and then we started saying it more. So it's really even to this day. I'm 34 years old. Even to this day, when my dad before he hangs up the phone and he says, "All right, bye, I love you," I'm still kind of like, well, weird.
yeah. Don't make it weird,
Don't
Dad.
make it weird, bro. Dap it up. Dap
Yeah,
it. You know, but that's just that's just how we operated. It's different now, but anyways, we go back to that idea of like seeking approval. So
mm,
that's where I really grew up seeking from my dad's validation.
mm, yeah. I think that goes. It's really that goes really hard with men. You know, I think
Oh yeah,
that
am I worthy? Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
am I worthy? And you know, you as a boy, I'm sure it's the same way for women, but as a boy, you really crave your father's approval. You crave
Yes.
to be your father's like joy
Yeah.
and be be your father's guy. You know,
Yeah, the apple of his eye type
the
of
apple
thing.
of his eye type thing.
Because you're when my dad would go to training, and when he was getting deployed, he would say like, "Oh, you're gonna be head of the house now. You know, take care of the house." So like being the oldest son, or being the oldest in general,
Yeah.
and then on top of that being the son, you have like this prince mentality. Like you are next in line, so you better straighten up. And I think even being the oldest out of there's three of us, so even being the oldest, there's a different kind of pressure where you're like, my mom would always say, make good friends. Your siblings are watching you.
Yeah.
So it's always like leading by example was always just ingrained
Yeah.
into us just being older. So I think like a lot of that was a lot. I put a lot of pressure on myself to be somebody that was worthy of love
Yeah.
or worthy of being called a man or whatever. And that motivation, that darker motivation, it wasn't about proving anybody right. It was just proving my dad wrong. Like I am worthy of your love.
Mm.
Not that he said I did it,
Right.
but it was like I'm gonna make you like
I'll
no matter.
make you acknowledge
I'll make you love me.
me. Yeah.
They're like, whoa, this dude got
So would you say
dead.
that comes coming from like a darker place, a darker
Oh
energy?
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, dude, I remember when I was a cop, and we would do like some intense like CrossFit workouts.
Mm-hmm.
There were times where I had to go deep in my cookie jar. You know the analogy of the cookie jar?
No.
David Goggins.
Yeah.
He talks about this thing called the cookie jar. And you take your memories, your experiences, you kind of put it in a cookie jar, and then you take it out when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had my cookie jar was straight dark chocolate,
Oh
baby,
my gosh.
all dark chocolate.
Yeah.
I remember, so a lot of those memories were of memories when I was fighting someone on the streets,
Mm.
and I was gassed, and I'm tired, and this man is looking at me like I'm like this man could. We're going at it. He could potentially take my life.
Yeah.
And that mixture of fear and adrenaline and heavy breathing, lungs feel on fire, muscles feel like they're about to cramp. And then it's just like that memory. Like I could feel myself like heating up right now as I'm repeating these memories. I would dig into that to get myself through some of these workouts.
Mm.
Like I'm like, this dude almost killed me.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen again.
Right.
And I remember I would bench, I would run. Anything I did not want to do, I mentally prepared myself to go into that cookie jar, take out the darkest, dirtiest cookie,
Mm.
and I'm like, this is my pre-workout right here.
Yeah.
This is gonna get us through this workout. And it was definitely a darker energy, like an aggressive.
Yeah. I've always heard of people using these darker memories as motivation for working out.
Yeah.
They use anger. They use,
Yeah.
they use a past sadness and then turned into anger, right, or bitterness or whatever. And so they use that as fuel.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always thought that's a dangerous place to be.
I believe it is.
Because
yeah.
then you start conducting your whole life around this emotion.
Yes.
You know?
Ooh.
That's the way that I saw it. And
Yeah.
I saw it in my friends, and these are high performers. These are
Yeah.
people that do very well in life.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But they had this, I don't know, call it a complex,
Mm-hmm.
where like they used to be fat, or they used to be the unpopular kid, or they used to be like
A lot of bodybuilders are like that,
really
dude.
dorky, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then something snapped in them, and they
Yep.
said never again, or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they always reach into that cookie jar, and they take these dark feelings, right, or things that happened in school in the hallway, or what have you, and then they'd be trying to destroy whatever gym equipment they have on hand, or
Mm-hmm.
martial art buddies. They would make their knuckles bloody, and because of this emotion that they're going into overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, that just seems like you're doing it wrong. You know what I mean?
It's a powerful thing, man.
It's a
Emotions
powerful
are a
thing.
very powerful
Absolutely.
thing, for better or worse.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
just like you said, there are definitely healthy ways to do it, but I don't think that's the healthiest way. Especially if you're just, I mean, it's interesting, right? Like you have to look at the season of your life and you're like, am I motivated by winning or am I motivated by just not losing?
Mm.
Am I trying to prove someone wrong or am I trying to prove myself right?
Mm.
Am I trying, So even in this stage of my life, it's hard for me to get into that same intensity that I did when I would go into like that dark cookie jar.
Mm.
Um, but I just got to find something else to fill it with.
Mm.
I think it's for me because I'm still, you know, finding this or refining this identity that God's called me to be. And it's like different than what I had imagined it myself to be.
Yeah.
It's kind of reworking so many other things. Because like I said, when it was that dark energy, I was a fool.
Mm.
I was just letting this darkness kind of consume me.
Mm.
And it would dominate my workout.
Mm-hmm.
But you're also messing around with darker energy.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say negativity, but in a
It
sense,
is negativity. Yeah.
you're kind of like brainwashing yourself over and over and over to see like this to trigger these emotions
Yeah.
and just living in that state of anger and rage because I was also going through a very dark time in life because of my career and I'm like recovering from this injury and even that recovery process was it was hell
Mm.
because it wasn't working and I had to really like come on like
Mm.
try to really juice myself up and like I would say all sorts of things in my head to really get me going
Yeah.
and try to push past like and then it not working out was even more like damn. It
Yeah.
was so much more deflating
Mm-hmm.
because I had to damn near empty the cookie jar to get myself back and then it didn't work and then I'm like, "Oh man. Like have I just been doing this wrong?"
Mm.
And I think when men reach that place and you're tired of being the fool, isn't that the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
That's what I hear.
That's exactly what it was. I did the same thing, and it may have served me before, but it's not going to serve you again in everything.
Yeah.
And that's where my growth came from.
Mm.
Like we can't keep doing it this way.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of being a fool.
Would you say that was rock bottom?
Yeah, yeah.
Because more or less, when I came to Christ, that was the headspace I was at.
Hmm.
I was like, I'm tired of doing it my way.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
time I try to do it my way, it's wrong.
Hmm.
It ends up bad.
I should have went the highway.
Yeah, yeah. I just that's when you start to release control, right?
Yeah.
And
Surrender. Right.
surrender, and that's in the Bible. That's the definition of the beginning of wisdom
Mm.
is knowing the fear of God, having the fear of God.
But think about it when we would play video games though growing up, and then it's like quit or surrender, like that option. They made it like it's a really bad thing. You don't want to quit. You don't want to
Mm.
surrender.
Yeah.
They would make the way the screen looked. It was dark, and it was like, "Are you sure you want to quit? Are you
Yeah.
sure you want to surrender?" It's like, "No surrender." Like
Yeah.
so, this idea of surrendering was never really an option.
Not for humans.
Not for humans.
Yeah.
So this idea of surrendering to God's will was like,
Yeah.
hmm.
Yeah. Surrendering to God is a thing of the spirit. The flesh doesn't want to do it. The flesh wants to fight you, right? The flesh and the spirit are always having a battle. You want to talk about spiritual battle? We're always having this internal battle, right? They're all throughout your day, even today. There's things that random thoughts that pop in my head, and I'm like, stop it! I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. You got to die to yourself. You have to.
That's the
you have
flesh.
to try and kill the flesh. Yeah, the desires of the flesh, right? The fruits of the flesh. Scripture talks about the fruits of the flesh and how it's um, sexual immorality, violent outbursts. There's quite a few, but I'm blanking out on the rest. But those are the two that I remember right now. And anytime that I read that verse, I always remembered violent outbursts. That's the one that would always like smack me in the face, and they're like, figure your life out.
Mm.
Do better. You need Jesus. Um, but yeah, and how do you combat that? Right. That's
Mm.
through the Spirit. Right. Asking for guidance, surrendering, and the opposite of a fool is a person that's wise. Right.
Mm.
And Scripture says all over, right? Proverbs, it says the person who is wise asks for help. It says that um, if there is no counsel, the kingdom suffers, right? But if there's
Mm.
lots of counselors, then the city moves up and progresses. Um, all over Scripture, it says that if you are wise, your ear is open to counsel.
Mm.
Your heart is humble enough for you to say, I need help. I can't do this alone. I need I need more information, right? I can't be ignorant. I can't stay ignorant in this topic.
Mm-hmm.
And it all also depends on who you surround yourself with, as we started in the beginning.
Yeah, yeah.